In the year 2040, the United States stands on the edge of a climate era unlike anything seen before, and this is the first hyper-realistic simulation that reveals the future in stunning detail based on advanced climate models, deep learning predictions, and real trends developing beneath the surface of today's weather systems. Imagine a country where storms behave differently, temperatures shift in unpredictable ways, and the seasons themselves begin to merge into patterns humanity has never experienced. The story you are about to hear is not fiction. It is a glimpse into a future shaped by decades of atmospheric change. Rising ocean temperatures, melting polar ice, evolving jet streams, and shifting storm tracks, every element of this simulation is built from the data we already see forming today, and by 2040, the results are undeniable. The first major change is the transformation of the American winter. In this simulation, winters in the northern United States become shorter, but dramatically more intense. Storms that once appeared once a decade now become yearly events. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and the Northeast face sudden blizzard bursts known as hypersnow events. These storms drop extreme snow within hours, shutting down cities and burying roads before anyone can react. And while the snow arrives in violent waves, the cold that follows is sharper than anything recorded in the 2000s. Cold snaps plunge temperatures to levels that freeze entire rivers overnight, while the Great Lakes generate walls of lake effect, snow taller and wider than anything people ever imagined. But as cold strengthens in some regions, the southern United States transforms in the opposite direction. Winter for states like Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida becomes nearly unrecognizable. Temperatures stay elevated for months, causing vegetation to grow earlier, insects to spread faster, and pollen seasons to triple in duration. Even the birds that once migrated south remain in place because they no longer need to leave for warmth. Storms in 2040 evolve into something far more powerful and far less predictable. In this simulation, hurricanes entering the Gulf of Mexico intensify at record-breaking speed. Storms that were once Category 2 systems explode into Category 4 within 24 hours, shocking coastal residents and destroying any chance of last-minute evacuation. The Atlantic hurricane belt stretches wider, and hurricanes begin forming earlier in the season and ending later, meaning America experiences a 7-month threat window stretching from April to November. Coastal cities from Miami to Charleston, from New Orleans to Houston, are forced to redesign themselves with taller seawalls, floating infrastructure, and massive saltwater pumps just to keep neighborhoods livable. But even with these defenses, some areas face permanent risk zones where flooding becomes an annual certainty. The Pacific Northwest experiences a new type of storm known as the atmospheric river, plus a massive water-laden system capable of dropping a month of rain in a single day, causing landslides, washing away highways, and reshaping coastlines from Washington to Northern California. And while the coasts battle water, the center of the country confronts the fury of air. In 2040, the Tornado Alley of America expands dramatically. No longer limited to Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska, it stretches into Iowa, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, and even parts of Ohio and Pennsylvania. Tornadoes grow wider, more energetic, and far less seasonal, forming during winter, warm surges in spring, temperature whiplash with terrifying frequency. This new tornado zone creates unprecedented challenges for emergency systems and local infrastructure. But the biggest change in the simulation is the rise of heat, America's primary climate threat. By 2040, summers in the U.S. intensify into superheat seasons. The Southwest experiences long stretches of temperatures above 100 degrees for weeks at a time. Phoenix, Las Vegas, and parts of California, record days so hot that planes struggle to take off, roads crack, power grids fail, and outdoor work becomes nearly impossible for extended durations. Heat does not strike the Southwest alone. Cities like Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, St. Louis, and Washington, D.C. face heat waves that exceed anything in their historical record, with humidity so intense it creates dangerous wet bulb conditions where the human body can no longer cool itself naturally. Energy demand skyrockets, water demand increases, and communities adapt by building cooling hubs, underground shelters, and reflective city surfaces to deflect sunlight. The drought conditions in this simulation reshape the American West. Lakes shrink, rivers slow, and water becomes a strategic resource managed with extreme Precision farmers in California battle unpredictable rainfall, while the Colorado River supply continues to decline, putting pressure on agriculture, electricity, and everyday life. Meanwhile, the simulation reveals another phenomenon: the Great Green Shift as areas in the northern plains, the Dakotas, Montana, and parts of the upper Midwest receive more rainfall and milder summers. They become unexpectedly fertile agricultural zones, expanding America's farmland and shifting crop patterns that have existed for generations. Forests across the country evolve as well. The fire season in the West becomes longer. More intense and more widespread fires burn larger areas over extended months, driven by dry air, record heat, and powerful winds. But technology in this simulation brings hope: AI-assisted firefighting drones, autonomous fire breaks, and predictive satellite monitoring reduce damage by responding to fires before they grow. The simulation shows how America adapts step by step. Storm warning systems become fully AI-driven, forecasting severe weather hours before traditional systems could. Infrastructure is redesigned with climate in mind, roads built from heat-resistant materials, floodplains reimagined as water reservoirs, and homes constructed with wind-resistant architecture. The country learns to survive within this new climate reality. And yet the most startling part of the simulation is not the storms or the heat or the transformation of seasons. It is how fast the changes arrive. By 2040, weather behaves like a living force, constantly shifting, constantly growing in intensity, constantly rewriting the expectations of the past. A normal year in 2040 looks completely different from a normal year in 2020, where temperature extremes become more common, storm seasons become longer, and atmospheric patterns grow more unpredictable. But even with these challenges, the United States remains resilient. The simulation highlights communities developing new forms of preparation, early action protocols, rapid storm deployment teams, climate-ready cities, floating farms, desert solar grids, and rapid rebuild systems that allow towns to recover faster than ever before. The American people adapt because adaptation is in their nature, and through technology, knowledge, and preparation, the country learns to face a future where the weather is always changing, always testing, and always demanding respect. This simulation does not show the end, it shows evolution, a transformation of a nation, learning to live with a climate that grows stronger each decade. And at the center of that transformation lies a simple, powerful truth: the future of America's weather is not something to fear, but something to prepare for. The storms of 2040 are different from the storms of today. The heat of 2040 is stronger than the heat of the past, and the winters of 2040 are sharper, shorter, and more unpredictable. But every challenge brings innovation, and every storm inspires action. The simulation is a warning, but also a guide, a map of what may come, a look into the skies of tomorrow, and a reminder that the choices made today shape the weather future of generations. The America of 2040 is not defined by disaster, but by resilience, strength, adaptation, and the unstoppable will to survive, rebuild, and rise again, no matter what storms may come.